This is a brief safety announcement. This show is a comedy broadcast. If the concept of humor or sarcasm confuses or frightens you, the exits are located at the top right of your browser window. Please use them now. For those staying, please ensure your expectations are appropriately lowered. Thank you.
You've tuned in to BACKFIRE FM, and this is Offence, the brutally honest cinema news and review show. Please welcome your host, the astonishing Arthur Pendleton-Finch.
Indeed, I am Arthur Pendleton-Finch, and this is Offence, the only cinematic news and review show on the wireless designed specifically for people who possess a brain capacity larger than a dehydrated walnut. Today, my producers, the spineless soy latte swilling little toddlers they are, handed me a press release. I read it, and for a brief, glorious second, I thought I was having a stroke. But no, I am cursed with perfect health, meaning I must exist in a world where Universal Pictures has officially greenlit Jurassic World 8. 8. It is reportedly subtitled Liberation, scheduled to pollute our local multiplexes in 2028. Liberation from what exactly? Our disposable income? Our collective God-given intellect? Or perhaps it's a merciful liberation from the mortal coil? Because I assure you, watching another 2 hours of this digital drivel makes the sweet release of death look like a weekend in Ibiza. But let's be entirely fair. In 1993, Steven Spielberg gave us a masterpiece. It was a triumph of awe, wonder, and practical effects. We saw a T-Rex and we wept. And yet, I watched it again last night, and let me tell you, it is not a science fiction adventure. It is a harrowing documentary-style horror show about the catastrophic failure of privatized upper-class infrastructure. It is a cautionary tale about what happens when you let a bloke with a trust fund and a god complex run a health and safety department. Let's talk about the grand architect of this prehistoric clusterfuck, John Hammond, this doddering, velvet-vested, silver-spoon, geriatric billionaire buffoon. He spends the entire bloody film wandering around like a confused grandfather at a garden fest, clutching a cane topped with a piece of old tree sap, muttering, "Spared no expense, spared no expense." You did, John! You spared every single expense that actually mattered, you pompous top-hatted thundercunt! You managed to clone a Tyrannosaurus Rex using prehistoric mosquito blood and a bit of West African bullfrog DNA. Brilliant, wonderful, peak scientific arrogance achieved. But when it came to securing the perimeter, when it came to the actual literal life-or-death structural integrity of the park, you hired one bloke. One single disgruntled, underpaid, sugar-addicted IT consultant named Dennis Nedry. Think about the sheer staggering scale of this corporate incompetence. You built a multi-billion-dollar biohazard theme park and the entire digital infrastructure, the locks, the lights, the high-voltage electrified fences, keeping the literal genetically modified death lizards from eating the paying public, was running on a single unbacked-up system controlled by a man whose desk looked like a municipal landfill site for grease and donut boxes. And then you wonder why the bloody system crashed? You underpaid the IT department, John. You corporate micromanaging tweet-wearing dick bubble. You can't run a global biological hazard site on the gig economy model. And the safety protocols. Let's analyse the safety protocols, shall we? You invite a group of scientists to audit your park before it opens because your investors are terrified you've built a giant meat grinder. Good. Sensible. But who do you put in the automated driverless SUVs for the maiden voyage? Two traumatized paleobotanist nerds, a leather-clad mathematician who refuses to button his shirt past the navel, and your own bloody grandchildren. Your grandchildren, John! Come along, Timmy Lex. Granddad's built a giant paddock for the apex predators of the Cretaceous period. Let's go sit in a glass-roofed tin can during a tropical storm. Who does that? What kind of aristocratic psychopath uses their own descendants as canary birds in a dinosaur coal mine? And then the power goes off. Of course the power goes off. Because you built a tropical resort in a known hurricane corridor and didn't think to buy a decent backup generator from B&Q. So now we have a T-Rex on the loose. A 40-foot meat-eating skyscraper with teeth and a bad attitude. And how does the park's chief engineer, Mr. Arnold, played by Samuel L. Jackson no less, a man who looks like he could kill a dinosaur with his bare hands, How does he plan to fix this systematic catastrophic breakdown of biological containment? Have you tried turning it off and on again? That was the plan. The absolute pinnacle of billionaire-funded scientific genius was the exact same advice you get from a broadband helpline in Slough. Just reboot the route to love. That'll stop the velociraptors from disemboweling the children. And speaking of the raptors, let's talk about those clever girls. You've got Robert Muldoon, the gamekeeper, the only man on the entire island with a modicum of tactical sense. He spends the whole film wearing short shorts and looking stressed, telling everyone who will listen, "These things are lethal, they figure out doors, they hunt in packs, we should probably destroy them with fire." And what does Hammond do? He ignores him, because you can't put a dead raptor on a t-shirt in a gift shop now, can you? So Muldoon goes out in the jungle with a combat shotgun to save the day, and how is he defeated? He gets outsmarted by a lizard that was born 3 weeks ago in a plastic tube. "Clever girl," he says. "No, Robert, not a clever girl. You're a professional big game hunter, for God's sake, and you got flanked by a giant turkey because you stopped to admire its camouflage." It's an absolute unmitigated shambles from top to bottom. The whole film is a perfect metaphor for modern capitalism. The rich elite play God, cut corners on labour costs, treat their technical staff like rubbish, ignore the scientists, and when the literal monsters break out of their cages, who gets eaten first? The bloody lawyer! Actually, scratch that. That's the only part of the film that makes perfect economic sense. But Jesus wept. Next time you want to open a theme park, John, don't bother cloning the wildlife. Just buy a bloody bouncy castle, hire a proper IT team, pay them a living wage, and keep your family at home in bloody Surrey. And then Hollywood looked upon this beautiful artistic achievement and said, "Marvellous! Now how can we absolutely systematically sodomize this concept until it is a weeping hollowed-out husk of creative bankruptcy?" By movie 2, The Lost World, we had a teenage girl defeating a genetically engineered pack of hyper-intelligent apex predators using gymnastics. She did a parallel bar routine and kicked a velociraptor through a window. I've seen more convincing physical combat in a Morrison's parking lot at 2 a.m. By movie 3, Alan Grant was having dream sequences on an airplane where a raptor politely spoke his name. Alan! Who wrote that? Who sat at a typewriter, drew a salary, and decided that the natural progression of prehistoric terror was a lizard with the conversational skills of a posh BBC continuity announcer? It is a monument to slack-jawed, drug-fueled screenwriting. Then came the soft reboot, Jurassic World. Enter Chris Pratt, the human equivalent of a golden retriever that's been hit on the head with a cricket bat. Ah, yes, let us take the most terrifying creatures to ever walk the earth and have a former sitcom actor park his motorcycle, hold out his flat palms and gently shush them like a schoolteacher calming down a classroom of overexcited toddlers. And let us not forget the character of Bryce Dallas Howard, a highly trained elite corporate executive who decides that the optimal footwear for sprinting away from a 40-ton genetically mutated apex predator through a muddy tropical swamp is a pair of 3-inch nude stilettos. It's not just a plot hole, it's a hate crime against physics. I've seen drag queens navigate cobblestones with more structural integrity, but the sheer unadulterated stupidity of suggesting a woman could outrun a dinosaur in Jimmy Choo's makes me want to march into the Universal offices and beat the producers with a copy of Lawrence's Outline of Orthopedics. And then we had Dominion. Dominion. A film that asked the thrilling existential question, what if we made a movie about dinosaurs, but instead of dinosaurs, the main villain was a plague of slightly oversized grasshoppers? It was a 3-hour public service announcement for agricultural pest control. Which brings us to the most recent cinematic atrocity, Jurassic World Rebirth. We were promised a fresh start, a glorious return to the roots. And what did we get? Scarlett Johansson, an actress of immense talent who has worked with Woody Allen and Sofia Coppola, reduced to running around a tropical island trying to extract dinosaur DNA because apparently 3 prehistoric lizards hold the secret to a miracle drug that cures everything. What is this miracle drug? Prehistoric ibuprofen? The entire plot was a masterclass in narrative masturbation. It's the same bloody formula. Step 1. Put a child in danger, because, God forbid, we have a film without a screaming, useless anchor dragging down the pacing. Step 2. Go to an isolated tropical island, because apparently dinosaurs are physically incapable of surviving in, let's say, Leicestershire or North Dakota. Step 3, run. It is a 2-hour CGI-drenched, sensory-assaulting conveyor belt of absolute unmitigated shite. It is a gilded intellectual vacuum designed to extract cash from the pockets of bovine customers who find Peppa Pig too complex to follow. And now, liberation. In 2028. I can tell you the plot right now. Some jaw-clenched, protein shake-consuming mannequin will squint into the middle distance and mutter something about respecting nature before a CGI dinosaur that looks like a cross between a crocodile and a Dyson vacuum cleaner eats a minor character we don't even care about. Why? Why do you keep buying the tickets? You, yes, you, sitting in your Vauxhall Astra listening to this, stop going. You are enabling them. You are the codependent partners in this abusive relationship with Hollywood. Every time you spend 15 quid to watch a digital tyrannosaur roar in slow motion while rain falls poetically on its snout, a screenwriter's soul dies and another sequel gets its wings. It is a relentless, soul-crushing, money-grubbing wheel of torment. I would rather slide naked down a razor-sharp banister into a paddling pool of vinegar than sit through another minute of this prehistoric corporate-sponsored cock-juggling circus. Well, be that as it may, I am Arthur Pendleton-Finch. Join me next time on Box Offence, if you will, where I will probably be taking apart Christopher Nolan's supposed epic, The Odyssey. Such fun! Can't wait. Good night, and indeed, God help us all.